Hello, everybody. It is King here, and we're going to talk about the New York Yankees in today's video. But before that, if I can be afforded the time to tell you a story of 2009, there sits a 10-year-old Justin, sitting in his living room, making a deal with his father. Dad, if the Yankees make the World Series, can I have the living room TV? My father looks down at me, says, yes, you can have the TV if they make the World Series. We all know what happens. The Yankees make the World Series. Little 10-year-old Justin sitting there on the couch, living and dying with every pitch. Hideki Matsui being a hero. Watching his idol, Derek Jeter, win a World Series. But then the trophy presentation happens. But that little 10-year-old cannot sit and watch, because he had to go to school in the morning. My father wanted me to go to bed. It was way past my bedtime, and I had to go to bed. I could not watch as my idol hoisted the World Series trophy. But the 10-year-old Justin said to himself, I'll be fine. I'm happy that I got to watch Jeter win a World Series. He'll be back. 2010 comes, nothing. 2012, no World Series. 2013, no World Series. 2014, Derek Jeter announces his retirement, and the New York Yankees come to Cleveland on Derek Jeter's last day in what was a 15-year-old Justin's hometown. Actually, home state, Ohio. Went to Cleveland, Ohio to watch his idol's last game in Cleveland. Take his last at-bats, bawling his eyes out while chanting, "Thank you, Jeter. Thank you, Jeter." And then no World Series happens in 2014. He sits there crying as his idol rides to the sunset with only one World Series in his fan life. From 2004 to 2014, that 10-year span of being a fan, one championship for his idol. He didn't even get to see the trophy presentation. But 2015 starts the story of the Astros versus the Yankees. 2015, a young and up-and-coming team versus the veteran presence of the New York Yankees. The Houston Astros beat the New York Yankees. Does this become a trend with these two teams? We shall see. 2017. The Astros and the Yankees meet up in the LCS. Goes to Game 7. Yankees fall to the Houston Astros. 2019. Yankee fans all thinking we finally vanquished the demon. We have beat the unbeatable. DJ LeMahieu smacks a opposite field home run to right field, putting us up. And then Aroldis Chapman comes in, chokes the game like he was the Atlanta Falcons blowing a 28-3 lead. In one of the saddest moments a young 20-year-old Justin has ever been in since Derek Jeter retired. But believe it or not, he did believe in Brian Cashman at that point. We are going, actually, 2017, I thought we were going to be back at that point. We were. But that young Justin started thinking in 2018, this team is regressing. Weirdly, this team is regressing. Looking very unprepared. Not willing. Every time they're down, they look like they're in a funeral. Hopefully that doesn't become a trend into 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Little did that 20-year-old Justin know that would become a trend. That every time they're down in a game, they would look like they're in a funeral. But it's okay. We'll be back. We'll win a World Series. 2022. The last ride of Aaron Judge. The only reason we were in the playoffs is because of Aaron Judge. But then Houston Astros. And then you had Nimrods in the Bronx chant, "We want Houston." After not learning their lesson of the last time that happened of the Boston Red Sox. We want Boston. We want Boston. We want Boston. You got Boston? Boston crushed you in 2018. 2022 happens. We want Houston. We want Houston. We want Houston. Yeah, we got Houston and they swept us. They swept us in 4 games convincingly. But this couldn't be Aaron Boone's fault, could it? No, he just doesn't tell Harrison Bader that he's leading off. Doesn't communicate to Clay Holmes that he is not available tonight after Clay Holmes said he was available. Luis Severino even questions Aaron Boone and why he did not use Clay Holmes. And then the kicker of all kickers, right to the dick. Let's go back in time, shall we, to the faithful year of our Lord 2004. What happened in that year, by the way, that was so consequential to the Yankees? Every single Yankee great, legend, and past player alike does not want to talk about 2004. What happened in 2004 that the fans don't even talk about 2004? The rule of '04, you look it up and then you shut the fuck up about it. Why was that so consequential? Well, we were up 3-0, 3-0 against the Boston Red Sox. One win away from the World Series. One win away from the World Series. But then the Yankees fell off the face of the earth and would go to lose in 4-3 in a decisive game 7. Where the Yankees would have the biggest choke job in the history of sports. Blowing a 3-0 lead, one win away from the World Series against the arch rival Boston Red Sox. Now, why am I bringing up 2004 after I just said the rule of '04? Do not speak of 2004. Because, ladies and gentlemen, as Michael K likes to say, get closer to the YouTube. Get closer to the phones. Get closer to the TV. Get closer to your radio, wherever you are listening to this. Aaron Boone and the mental skills coach decided, hey, yo, Jeffrey, get in here. What you doing on that tablet there, bud? Oh, Mr. Boone, I'm looking up clips of 2004. The team you were traded off of because you broke your leg playing pickup basketball. He said, that is genius. Are you doing that to motivate the guys? Yes, Mr. Boone, I am doing that to motivate the guys in the locker room. I have never heard of the greatest idea. That is the greatest idea of my life that I've ever heard of. Even though there are Yankee fans in that clubhouse, like Harrison Bader and Garrett Cole. Let's have them watch the worst loss in Yankee history again as players. That should motivate them to say, yeah, let's go beat these Houston Astros. Conveniently, they would go up 3-0 in that game and blow the lead like they did in 2004. They would go up and blow the lead in the game. And did any reporter question him on why they used 2004? Nope. No, not at all. No one asked, hey, Boom, why'd you use 2004? And here's the worst part of it. You used Big Papi. You called Big Papi one of our arch rivals, the guy Yankee fans could not stand playing against, who crushed our dreams more times than not. He calls him, FaceTimes him to get, hey, David, how did you guys come back and beat us in 2004? Ortiz is probably like, he's probably looking up. Why the Yankees call me? Hello? Oh, yeah, you want to talk about '04? Yeah, that was good times. The good times. We just beat you in the biggest choke job in the history of sports, so yeah, I'll give you some advice. We did this, this, and this. And Brian Cashman lets that in. Lets that go. Of why in the hell would you use the biggest choke job in the history of sports to even motivate the guys? Why on earth would you use 2004? What brain dead moron do you have to be to say 2004 is the year we're going to use to motivate the guys? This is genius. This should not fail us in any way, shape, or form. It is going to be great. Nope. Nestor Cortez will get injured, and the game would become a funeral in the Yankees clubhouse after Nestor Cortez was taken out. But is Aaron Boone fired? No. He's getting brought back. But this dude should be fired. He is the worst bullpen management. Lineups are nowhere near consistent. Consistency is not a word in the Yankees front office or managerial booth. His press conferences are the worst thing on Mike Tomlin and Joe Judge put together. The cliche master and the arrogance. He has the arrogance of Joe Judge and the cliche of Mike Tomlin. But, you'll have some of these Nimroded fans say, oh, if Aaron Boone gets fired, people would scoop him up in a minute, would scoop him up in seconds. We cannot bear to lose Aaron Boone. Oh, if he gets scooped up, fine. Bye-bye. So long. See you later. You are the biggest moron I have ever seen in the history of sports. And this is coming from a Giants fan who had to deal with Ben McAdoo and Joe Judge, to name a few of the coaches that I had to deal with. QB sneaking on a 3rd and 9 and a 4th and 9. He's a worse coach than that. But then you'll have idiots saying, oh, he won 100 games. They won 100 games in spite of him. They literally almost collapsed the division because he was an idiot. The division was almost lost because of Aaron Boone. And the players not knowing where the hell they're batting in the order next day, or where the hell they're even playing. But Isaiah Kiner-Falefa can just play at shortstop. He should be a gold glove shortstop. He's the greatest shortstop in the history of this franchise, according to Aaron Boone, even though he couldn't field his position. Gleyber Torres, who is a generationally bad, I'm talking generationally terrible defensive shortstop. He had more errors than him. Please tell me how that makes any bit of sense, any bit of logical logical sense of why you put a guy who can't field their position when you have a guy who is touted as your best defensive player. Not infielder, not shortstop, not second baseman, not third baseman. Your best defensive player in your minors is banging on the door. Is banging on the door harder than Kratos was banging on Zeus's head at the end of God of War 3. Was literally using Spartan Rage from God of War 2018 to literally move IKF to third base. But yet, we have Josh Donaldson. I like his at-bats. He walks. He doesn't hit worth absolute dick, but he walks. He gets on base, he walks. I like his at-bats. His at-bats are worse than what I would do when I swing at everything. You have Aaron Boone sitting up there making himself look like an idiot. And Aaron Boone is one of the worst managers in baseball. Actually, no. He's the second worst manager in baseball. You know who's the worst? It was Tony La Russa, and he fell asleep. Conveniently, you would fall asleep with the Aaron Boone's press conference because of a melatonin pill. You don't need NyQuil. Just watch Aaron. No, you don't. Little Timmy, you don't need NyQuil. Put the NyQuil back in the medicine cabinet. Just go watch an Aaron Boone press conference. It'll knock you out easy. But yet, guys like Manny Acta can go sit in Seattle as a third base coach, while we have to sit with this Joe Judge, Mike Tomlin wannabe at manager, who is supposed to be a communicator to the players. Doesn't communicate to Bader, doesn't communicate to Holmes, doesn't communicate to Sevy, does not communicate to absolute anybody. He does not communicate, and that's what he was brought in here to do. But then the man that hired him, Brian Cashman. 2017. I put all trust in you. I was like, he is building a potential dynasty with this team. And you went to screw it up. All the resources you got from 2016, you didn't use at all. You used washed up old veterans who couldn't lace a rookie's shoes, who couldn't lace their cleats. You ran out guys like Chris Carter, Chase Headley, Rougned Odor. Tim LaCastro, Marwin Gonzalez, just to name a few, who he signed. Your bench is as sturdy as a wobbly pole that's ready to fall over. But then he'll probably get a 10-year, $100 million extension because Hal Steinbrenner doesn't know any better. And Hal, I'm the only fan that defended you. I said, Hal's not the problem. He spends the money. But Cashman doesn't know how to spend it. Hal, I could make you more money than Brian Cashman. And I'm a professional wrestler. I could make you more money than Brian Cashman could in a year These two are the reason Aaron Judge is going to walk. He's probably sitting in that meeting. Like, are you getting rid of Tweedledee and Tweedledum over there? Hal's like, oh no, they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job. Aaron Boone took out his ace in a game that was a must-win that ended our season. You gave Houston a life after taking out Garrett Cole. After taking out Garrett Cole, Boone gave them life. Because they were a little confused of what they were hitting the ball, but they were still not sure of what Cole was doing. Cole was doing good. And then Boone takes him out in the sixth. For Lou Trevino, not even Jonathan Loaisiga, not Clay Holmes. Lou Trevino, your fourth best reliever. But yet, Boone is brought back. And probably Cashman will as well. What I would do is Boone, Cashman, get in here. What the Yankees should do this offseason, I should say, is Boone, Cashman, Levine, get in here. Hal needs to sit Brian down, let him wait, let him watch as everybody is fired. Randy Levine, Mike Fishman, Gene Afterman, everybody from his team is gone. And then Hal, turn to your friend. Turn to your best friend. Take him out back and do the proverbial old yeller. He's been there since 1982. Sit him down. Do the old Ric Flair. Do the old Shawn Michaels to Ric Flair. Stand him up in the ring. Look at him while you're tuning up the band. And say, I'm sorry. I love you. Bang. And put him out of his misery. It is time to end the Brian Cashman era. It has been an abstract failure. Since 2010, 3 AL East titles. That's about it to his name. The 90s were Bob Watts and George Stick Michael. Those two guys built that dynasty. Brian Cashman added bench players, utility players to the 90s dynasty. That was it. He didn't add no superstars. He added bench pieces. Because Watson and Stick did all the heavy lifting. That was it. Everybody will say, oh, Brian Cashman is a great GM. If he was Michael K. bitching and complaining, bitching a storm. But if Cashman and Boone were fired, they would be hired in seconds. You can't fire them. Why you fired them? They suck. They ain't getting the job done. And how? I know he's your best friend. But it's time to bring him out back in Old Yeller. And what you should do is give Jeter, the president, give Jeter Randy Levine's job. Let Jeter negotiate with Judge. Give Judge a 10-year, $400 million deal with where you have 2023 to 2026 of $50 million, where you have 27, 28 as $40 million, 29, 30, 31, and 32. Actually, the last 4 years of that deal are $30 million. And the buyout, and if Aaron Judge contract is bought out after before the 10th year, it turns into a 3-year, $30 million deferred contract, which makes him age 39. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. His age 40 season will be bought out, and it'll be a thank you. That 10th year will be a thank you contract of everything Judge has done for this team through his career. Will be a thank you for that 3 years, $30 million deferred contract if bought out. If he, for some reason, is Justin Verlander and just ages like fine wine, then you got 1 year, $30 million. And then you're done. But if it's bought out, it's a 3-year, $30 million deal. That's deferred. That is deferral payments. And Judge gets a thank you deal. That's what you have to do to extend Judge. And now, you trade Stanton, DJ, Trevino, Lou Trevino, Jose Trevino. You trade Gleyber Torres, if possible. You trade Josh Donaldson. You trade Aaron. Actually, I'm going to pull up the roster right now. I didn't do this earlier, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up the roster. I'm going to pull up the roster and tell you who you should trade. Oh. Boom. Come on, load. Jeez, this is taking a while. Sorry, I didn't know that I was pulling up the roster during this video, but give me a second. Just so I don't miss people of who we should trade. Just so I don't miss people. You should trade Scott Efros, Domingo Germán, Lucas Luggage, Frankie Montas, Wandy Peralta, Lou Trevino, Kyle Higashioka, Jose Trevino, Josh Donaldson, DJ LeMahieu, Gleyber Torres, Aaron Hicks, and Giancarlo Stanton. You should trade all those guys, retool this roster. You aren't that far off from what would be a better roster, because this roster ain't getting shit done. It is old. It is lethargic. When they go down, they are dead. Bring in young guys that are hungry, want to win. Anthony Volpe should be your starting second baseman. Oswald Peraza should be your starting shortstop. Get a young first baseman. Because Rizzo's back worries me. Gleyber, I'm okay with keeping. Maybe move him to third. whatever. Oswald Cabrera, he's your Ben Zobrist. Use him as Ben Zobrist. Ben Rorford, he can be the starter or the backup. I don't care which one. He can be the starter or the backup. Luis Severino, pick up his option. Extend him. You need a guy like Severino who is fiery. But these are probably too complicated for Brian Cashman. So, why am I even saying these? Because Brian Cashman will not do this. Because this is too simple. This is too obvious to do for Brian Cashman. His ego will get in the way of this happening. Of moves that need to be done to get better. Bring contact, speed, and power mix to this team. We have a power mix. With some speed. And contact sprinkled in there like it was seasoning. But it was just sprinkled. A literal, alright, it's seasoned. When you season it with just, and then you're throwing away the seasoning jar, and it tastes as drier as Brian Cashman GM tenure and Aaron Boone's managerial tenure. But yet you'll have people out there that are saying bring them back. If they haven't gotten the job done, it is time to move on. Get a modern front office. Because everybody in there has been here since 2001. It's not 2001 anymore. It's 2022. We need a modern front office. Hal, it is time to get modern. You have a Nimrod dipshit at your office, which thinks his ego is bigger than the game. Yet you'll have people on Yankees Twitter and Yankees YouTube. Oh, Brian Cashman should be back. It was the players' fault. Was it the players' fault? Or was it Brian Cashman's fault and Aaron Boone's fault that they were striking out 30 times in 2 games? Who constructed the roster there, Nimrod? Who constructed this roster? Oh yeah, Brian Cashman. Get Derek Jeter as president. Get Manny Acta or Don Mattingly or AJ Hinch if he gets fired from Detroit in the manager's booth. Let them communicate and hire their guys. More modern guys. Hell, take some people from the fucking Astros. If James Click's contract is up, fucking steal that man from the Astros. Make him the general manager. Steal some people away from the Astros. They are your father. If you're the New York Yankees, if you cannot beat somebody, buy them. It is not that difficult. I don't care if people are saying, oh, AJ Hinch cheated. He cheated us out of an AL pennant. We lost. I do not care if AJ Hinch cheated in 2017. It's done. It's over. It was what? 5 to 7 years ago? You're going to still worry about what happened 5 to 7 years ago when they've owned us? If you cannot beat them, buy them. Buy James Click. Buy AJ Hinch. Buy Carlos Correa. He's an anti-Aaron Judge. Buy them. I hope this was informative. on why Aaron Boone should be fired, why Brian Cashman should be fired, and what the Yankees should do. I sprinkled in what the Yankees should do this offseason. I haven't went full bore, but that's okay. Whatever. It's going to be dark time. I am warning you, this is going to be dark times as Yankee fans. We are entering some dark ages. Yankee fans, prepare for the worst to come.